Hi. Um, Something I wanted to share. As we continue to grow as musicians, as human beings, as performers, as teachers, and what have you, it's only natural to start thinking about and looking at signposts. What I mean is, at a certain age, you say, I should have achieved this sort of thing, or I should be able to play this kind of music, or that kind of passage. I should have won an orchestral audition by now, or I should be at this level in my career, or I should have my personal life at this or that stage. And it's all, it's understandable. And it's something that needs to stop if we do it. And I'll tell you why. It's because um, as long as you're working on things, or as we just simply go through our lives, things happen when they're supposed to. And gosh, it's such an old, hackneyed, almost hackneyed cliche. But as I get older, certainly, I'm realizing this is really the truth. Um, and when I say getting older, well, I just turned 60, and I know I don't look it. But when I was 26 years old, really, this is when this really came to a head, because I was just fresh out of grad school. In fact, I just in a year of postgraduate work. Um, I had spent most of my summers since undergrad, from the summer after my senior year as an undergrad at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia, and I had experience playing different kinds of shows. So I played at a German show. I played on a stage show where I got my first experience using my newly minted flute chops, and I'd never played piccolo before, and I had the chance to experience that. Um, and now I had spent the past 3 years, as I said, immersed in orchestral literature and playing chamber music, because I thought that would be an important experience for me. From a musical standpoint, I thought that was the key to kind of everything. I wasn't wrong. Um, Nevertheless, I felt that here I was now, 26 years old, interested in so many different things and not really fully qualified to do anything. And um, and this is an age when people were having families, even, or hitting new heights in their careers and whatnot. And then here was the little old me, right? And geez, now what? So this particular summer at Busch, I was playing in a big band with uh, people my age and some of them a little bit younger, who were incredibly accomplished at this music. They were great soloists. Some of them went on to become pretty well known. Like there was Al Hood, who, if you haven't heard his playing, do yourself a favor and check him out. And he also was renowned for his scholarly work later on the life of Clifford Brown, and life and artistry of Clifford Brown, I should say. And by the way, I was surrounded at this park for all these years by extraordinary talent and people who went on to fame and fortune, even, and certainly became well respected and well known in their particular disciplines within the performing arts. Names like, well, certainly we all know who Victor Wooten is. The world hadn't found out who he was yet, but he was already Victor Wooten, as were his brothers, all of whom were local people. They grew up in nearby Newport News, Virginia. And Roy Futureman Wooten was playing drums, and brothers Joe and Reggie, who are now successful studio musicians in Nashville, they were there. And Futureman actually had already played on Whitney Houston's debut album, of course, now an iconic part of the music of the 1980s, and certainly it's a timeless classic. So we were all a little bit awestruck, and at the time. And let's see, you all know the names Blair Underwood and Taye Diggs, maybe. They're graduates of the park. We say graduates, but it wasn't. It was like going to school. It was a very difficult job, and we just didn't realize that we were too young and too busy having fun to realize just what it was we were learning, which was being able to play consistently 4 or 5 good shows a day, 6 days a week. So in any case, in spite of all this, or on top of all this, I still felt like I'm surrounded by these people who all had this one thing in common. They were focused. They knew who they were as human beings, it seemed to me anyway, as artists, and as performers. In fact, I even had a roommate one summer who had a full-fledged ballet career. Her name was Tristy McMaster. God rest her beautiful soul. But she went on to dance with Richmond Ballet and at the Kennedy Center, and then she discovered her real passion was in teaching, and she founded a school of her own in the Richmond area with her husband later on. Um, I could go on and on, rattling off famous names. The point is, these people all seemed to be what I wasn't. which was all those things I just listed. And I was telling somebody else in the band on one of our days off, another wonderful trumpet soloist named Mark Hoffman, and I said, geez, I'm 26 years old. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to be when I grow up, and you guys are all amazing. And I just went on and on, and he just listened patiently, and then he said, you know, what you're doing is really unfair, right? And I said, huh? Well, I mean, you know, this is the situation. And he said, yeah, dude, there's no way you can put that kind of agenda on your talent. And he said just what I said earlier, and guess he's one of the people I got this from. Things happen when they're meant to happen. Um, and it really is true. They happen after a certain amount of practicing, after certain revelations, and after having heard this amount of music or studied with this person X number of years, whatever it is, whatever it takes. The point is, the only thing that has to happen is you got to keep working at it. And one of the things I was complaining about at that time is like, but I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, so I have nothing to focus on. So he says, so just keep doing all that stuff. He says, and something's going to win. Something will take over. So I'm going to pass his wisdom on to you. Don't put that kind of agenda on your talent. The only agenda you should have is to just keep working at your craft, whatever it is. And if you don't know what it is, well, it's something, or you wouldn't be here listening to me for the last 5-6 minutes. So just keep doing it. You know, what you do, because my undergraduate teacher, Michael Galvan, explained to me, you always achieve certain levels. And when you get there, then there's a horizon or plateau or something over which to look, and you can conceive, you can hear, it's almost tangible to the point where you could taste or touch it. You're just not there yet, but you've discovered it, because God help me, it's like a level on a video game, right? You get to the end and then you're at the next level, and you're at the next level. And just like those video games, especially the ones on your phone, I don't really know about those, but anyway, they never end. This never ends, and this is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. What keeps you messing with your phone, what keeps you motivated to do anything, is there's always another level to get to. And this is where, this is what keeps our practicing from becoming mundane, and for our careers from becoming stale or rote, or by rote, I should say. And even if you're doing the same thing beyond the point where it's still exciting, you know that this is supporting this habit. This is supporting this process, and it is a process. It's a lifelong process, right? Consider Pablo Casals telling, you know, this is a famous interview, actually. I think it was on 60 Minutes with Mike Wallace, and he told Mike Wallace, well, I still practice around 3 hours a day. Mike Wallace said, why is Pablo Casals, the great Pablo Casals, still practicing 3 hours a day? And mind you, Pablo Casals was in his 90s, and he said, well, I think I'm making progress. He wasn't being glib. No, he was still finding new levels to achieve, and he could still see new horizons that he wanted to reach. On a sadder note, Sonny Rollins said the same thing. He just said he had to stop playing for health reasons. And he said, geez, you know, I'm sorry, I miss it. First, I like playing my tenor saxophone, and this sound, this thing I've been chasing since I started, I almost got there. Think about that. You know, one of the greatest improvisers of his or any generation in any music, not just that's music, still saw and could conceive, in fact, still can, because thank goodness he's still with us. We won't know what that is, but my goodness, what a legacy he's left us in the meantime. You know, something that we'll all we'd love to aspire to, and artistic heights that maybe we can only dream about it, but you don't know unless you keep working at it and try to get there, right? That's really the point of this little discussion I'm having with you right now. And I'd love for it to be a discussion in person, or we could talk on the DMs, or we can have a private call. Anytime, I'm here. That'd be a fun thing to do sometime as a group. And just leave you with some more examples. Grandma Moses didn't start even painting until she was in her 80s. She didn't even know this was something that she was. She didn't realize she was the great artist that she was. And for her, it was just a lark, right? I had another roommate at Busch Gardens who's a dear friend, one of my dearest friends to this day, now Dr. Jeffrey Ames, who at the time when we met was, he loved to sing and he was a great piano player, but he went on, of course, to become a celebrated composer and conductor and educator, which he's all those things to this day. He didn't know that that's what he was going to do at the time, but he had a pretty good idea that these are all things that he loved. He got there by working at it and working at it and working at it. That's the point. And some days it will feel like work, but most days, well, I don't know what to tell you. Just keep doing what you do because the world needs you. And so be good to yourself, and be good to each other. And I'll see you in the next one.